Hey there, Boots Owen here. This is a little Henry Micro. It's about the same size as all the other Henrys that I've ever seen. It's a HVR 200 M22. Made in England as far as I can tell. Fine little unit. I've tested it in another video. When I got it, it had no cable. And I narrowed it down to the switch being broken. And so this switch now is repaired, but it's liable to break again. So the solution here is to fit a new switch. It's an on-off. This is an illuminated rocker. The old one's solid, but this is the kind of cheapest compatible part I could find on the internet. £2.29. If you buy one that's called a Henry part, it'll cost more. So just buy one that's not called a Henry part. Rocker switch, 4-pin, something like that. You just need to make sure that it's rated for the correct amperage, and this one's rated 16 amps at 250 volts, so that'll be cool. I'm going to give it a clean up, fit the new switch, fit a new cable, and put it back together again. Not particularly complicated, but equally it's a good starter project if you're getting into Henrys and stuff like that. I pick these up all the time in builder skips. If I'm out walking, just out in the neighbourhood, and I don't travel very far to find them, you'll see the red or the smiling face of a Henry sticking up out of a skip or some element of it. Sometimes you find the hoses, sometimes you find the sticks, sometimes you find just the Henry. Sometimes you take them out and they work and they're just filthy. Sometimes they're absolutely knackered and there's no way to fix them. But one way or the other, Henrys, they're all pretty interchangeable, so there's good parts in them, spares and that kind of thing. Let's get into it. There's 7 screws on the bottom of a Henry, 4 around the outside, and 3 in the center, these 3 that make a triangle. To get to the cables and the switches, we don't need to take out the center 3. We only need to get to them for the motor and the motor control board, so we're not going to touch them today. And the other thing to say about screws is, this one has cross head screws or posi head screws. That one doesn't want to come out. So you can see here, it's got a cross head. Some more recent ones, I think, have a Torx head. And if they do, you just need a different screwdriver. I don't know why that one doesn't want to come out, but it doesn't really matter. Lifting that up, lifts up this hood cover. I'll give that a wash. That's the guide for the cable. Just need that for putting it back together. Here's the cable carousel. It's a bit damp for some reason. There's a bit of moisture inside, so I'll leave this open overnight when I finish the repair to let it dry out. In fact, I might open the other 3 screws and have a look just to make sure everything's okay. The Henrys have been around in one form or another, I think, for over 40 years. I think they've sold millions and millions of them. I saw one recently on the Post-Apocalyptic Inventors channel. He had found one on the street in Germany. I think he lives in Cologne. And it was just working. And I don't think they're as popular abroad as they are here in England, in the UK. But they're reasonably cheap as a thing goes. And you can get all the parts for them. And you can get all the parts for them pretty much new and used now, because there's so many and there's people reselling parts. You can't really go wrong with them. So as a sustainable product, I reckon they're up there, you know. 3 more screws to get to the cable connectors. These screws have a bit of corrosion on them, but you'll never see them again once the top's back on. Likewise, all the stuff I'm wiping here, that's all dust that's come up with the cable as it's been rewound every time. It's not a big deal. Yeah, so Henrys, I think they're very repairable. It's easy to get parts. Parts aren't too expensive relative to the price of a new machine. Now, obviously, if you find the machine in a skip, you'll think they're probably expensive parts and that, and a reasonable thing to say. Here's another vacuum cleaner cord that I found with another vacuum cleaner. Let's have a look at these cables here. Made about that much off the end. Then there's other products that, you know, I would consider to be eminently repairable and to have parts available, like Miele washing machines and things. And in theory they are, but if you're spending 1,000 quid or at least 500 quid on a washing machine, and then it's 10 years old, and then you need to do something to it, and that costs 200 quid. There was a tumble dryer that I had a while ago. There's videos of it up somewhere. Might be a link in the corner of the video now. That tumble dryer was a Miele tumble dryer. It had a broken element. Just one thing, just a little piece of wire in the element was broken. So it didn't work properly. And a new element was 250 quid, 220 quid, something like that. Now that machine might have cost 1,000 quid when it was new. I don't know, no idea. It wasn't new, so it's kind of irrelevant as a concept. I could get the parts, get them from Miele or off the internet, from a general auction website, and they were still the same price. They were still really expensive. Now I'm not going to spend that on some machine that I've collected from the street to make videos of, maybe to repair. So I didn't, I just passed it on as scrap, you know. But the point that I'm eventually going to make is that just because you can repair something doesn't mean it's worth it. There's concepts of sunk cost. If it was your machine and you'd had paid the 1,000 quid for it new and you were wealthy enough, maybe it wouldn't be a big deal to you. Let's get these screws out. Maybe it wouldn't be a big deal to you and you'd just pay it, but with Henrys and things like this switch, that switch is a generic switch. There's no problem getting one. They're made by probably thousands of companies in China and around the world. Whereas with Miele parts, you can only get them from Miele. Or they're not so common that other people are making them. There might be some generic parts you can get, like cables and stuff, but generally speaking, you can't. So, let's put a hook on the end of these wires and put it back together. It says live and neutral, brown is live. If I had crimped terminal ends, I would put them on, but I don't. So I would imagine, looking at this, that this Henry was run without a bag, which you can do. It just means your filter winds up like this, with all this stuff caked onto it. So what I'll do is I'll try and get the majority of it off by brushing the big stuff. Then I'll bung it into a washing machine and it should come out, you know, relatively clean. You can see there's a lot of dust coming off it. Probably particles of people's skin. It's the inside of Henry. It's quite well caked on. That's rainwater in the garden. I'll let that fill up to just above the layer of the dirt, and then I'll let it soak for a while. Come back and just scrub it the same way as I did with the filter. So this brief discontinuity in the videos because I just got a tip that there was a washing machine on a neighbouring street, and I brought the trolley up to fetch it. And I'm back again now with another Beko that's been left out with the plug cut, and I don't remember where I was in this video. Putting a cord on, so we screw this one down. He's probably lamenting the fact that things are difficult to repair, but Henry's are not. Why is that? Just, oh, there it is, nipped up tight. Yes, so push that in there, and then there's helpful tuck that down. There's helpful arrows to show you where to put the cord, and it kind of works as a strainer, retention device thing. Now, so we've already lost 1/2 meter of cord just up to there. I think this is only a 4 or 5 meter cord, so it's not a great length of cord really for a vacuum cleaner, but that's what we've got. Now this has a way of going back. I can't remember which way it is. I don't know if it matters. I'm guessing because it's got these 2 nodes here and here that they go down and press on the cables, so I'll align it that way. Oh, actually there's a helpful thing. It's got an arrow here and an arrow here to align it. Let's say that's got something to do with how you're meant to set it together. There we go. Oh, I did it again. This is what always happens. Get back into it. And remember that this guy needs to go in. At least I remembered it now. I've done that so many times. And it goes this way out. Plug, the curved side goes to the plug. So, let's tidy these up again. What I always find amazing when you're taking stuff apart is that, you know, those screws look as good as new. Genuinely clean, shiny and whatnot. The other screws are all rusty. You know, you saw the inside, or you'll see one or the other, depending on how I edit the video, the inside of that Henry and how filthy it was. But some bits just are okay. Cable, follow the arrows, find the arrows, and align them. Here they are. Flip it over, find the screw holes. Let me get these screws back in. So that's half the job done. I'll coil the cable on later. If I had a longer cord, I'd use it, but it is what it is. Just give this a clean. This will never be seen. No one will ever be in here again, probably. What I think happens is that, I think, generally speaking, some things get repaired. And most things, the vast majority of things nowadays, never get repaired. They go straight out on the curb and they'll get sucked up by the scrap man. I'm speaking for the UK here. There are other countries on earth, as you know and I know, sticker or something in here, where things are often repaired. It's a bit of dirt. But the consumerist culture that we live in the UK is not one of these places. It may be that things get whisked away, put in a container and sent to other countries where it's economically viable to repair them. I don't necessarily agree with that, because then the carbon footprint of the thing is enormous, and some people have a happy feeling that they've sent stuff away, but you know, a way to be reused and recycled. Clothing especially. Clothing's a joke nowadays. But that's the way it is. So I said I'd go in and have a look just to make sure everything's dry. Go. It's actually pretty good in there. It's a bit sticky around the bottom maybe, but nothing to worry about. I know it works and I know it sounds okay. And people often comment that that machine doesn't sound okay, or it does, or whatever on the video. I don't know that on a video you can have any real sense of what a vacuum cleaner sounds like. This dust is kind of just me being picky here now. I don't really need to clean any of this. As soon as you turn on the machine, it's going to get dusty again. This machine has a red board, in case you're interested. There's the code of it, version 1 of this, whatever it is. A load of different part numbers written on the back of the board, but the board is red or orange. I'd say orange actually. Anyways, there's a little triac there and it just turns the volume down, turns the voltage down somewhat, I think. I think I'll take this outside and give it a scrub, because you do see the rubber bumper and it wouldn't be bad to have that tidy. So bring that outside and give it a clean. So that's the brush I was using before, and that's just a normal sweeping brush. This brush over here is a thing called a churn brush, and it's used by builders nowadays. It's where you get them in hardware shops. You see the bristles go into a corner, so if you're cleaning out the bottom of a bucket, you can get right in there. So I've washed the thing outside and it's drying, the box and the other component, the cover for here. I was having a look at this board. I took it out to give it a wipe because sometimes carbon dust isn't good for them. And if we have a look at it, the model number on there is T1235H-6G GK01F. And that's not a triac, it's only got two, or it actually might be a surface mount triac. It's only got two legs, but the back is also bonded on to either the in or the out. There's another little switch there, which my eyes won't be able to see. Just there with three legs, so there's something going on there. I suspect it'd be easy to reproduce that board, you know, if it broke, because some of the Henry boards I've seen have loads of components, all of them surface mount and tiny. This one doesn't. It just has, well, what's that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 components on the board. So there, let's have a quick look at this filter, even though I don't really want, yeah, it's fine. It's dirty, but it's never been out. It's never been used. What I might do, actually, because it's not too bad, I'll take it outside and give it a shot with the airline. So, yeah, it's dusty, right. So you saw the dust literally blowing straight out of it. It came clean pretty easily, I've got to say. So then, these things should go back in the way they came out. It's a remarkably simple filter, and in the past what I've done with these is I've washed them in the washing machine, so you don't need to stress about them if they're dirty. Let's get it back in, tucked in correctly. There we go. That should go back down like that. Snap in place. I could wash it all, there ain't much point. So then we've got to wait for the other parts to dry. But meanwhile, actually, I think I could turn this upside down if I'm careful. The motor might want to fall out, but I don't want to let it. We'll do this switch. So here's the switch. There's a cover plate here. Just pop it off with your fingers like that. A screwdriver. The other side's not going to come off as easy, so I'll use a screwdriver. I was going to say a screwdriver would also do it. It's actually easier with the fingers. Oh, there's a little tab down the bottom I didn't see. Get your fingers in behind that and give it a pull. It's stuck. There we go. Okay, and it just comes out. Here's the switch. There should be little plastic tabs holding that in, but they're obviously not there. So white and brown to the center. I'm just holding them so that they come out exactly the same way. And then brown to brown, live to live coming in. And neutral is blue coming in to the white one at the back there. If you have to pull it upwards, you have to press in these tabs on the side to get it up. You do that with a screwdriver from below, and it's not particularly complicated. What happens with these is there isn't much length in the cables, so you almost have to put the cables on as you're pushing it in. If you need to do that, a needle nose pliers helps. I've just gotten lucky this time. Snap that back in. Keep all the motor together in this case, but just check it's snapped in okay and that the spade connectors are all still attached. What I mean is, to get them on, you'd have to put the switch in place and then offer those cables up with the pliers. Push them in. That one had come down a little bit actually. Looks okay. And now that switch should work. The old switch, what had happened was in here, if I pop it open, take it out very carefully, one of these rockers in here had fallen sideways. That's all it was. Now I've taken it out. I can't remember. So if it's that way, it's off. And if it's that way, I think, is it on? Or is it off? I'll try putting it around this way. I don't remember. It doesn't matter because it's going in the bin. But there is a right way and a wrong way for it. This doesn't feel great either. After a repair, it was working, so, but without a cable. We'll come back. I'll put that filter into a washing machine, give it a wash. We'll come back and put it all back together. I should have snapped that on. I'll do that now. It just snaps on. So time has passed and this has dried out. A little bit of moisture still under there, but that's not going to be a problem. So let's get this top back. Check that the board is in. I give the board a wipe and it's dried out too. There. I'm going to put it like this. It only goes one way because of the 3 legs on the center. 3 screws. Have I forgotten something? I'll just have a quick look. No, it's all there. Oh, this thing's come out this time, so I better put it back on. Otherwise, when it goes on, the filter mightn't like it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, and like that. Then the other screws, and one of them stayed stuck in there, so I don't need to put one back in. I need to put the top on before I put those in. So what am I at? Here's the top. Put this carousel in, like that. Then find that end piece. Where's it gone? Where is it gone? Oh, buddy, have I trapped it in there? Look at that, that was silly. How can I get it out by manipulation? Yeah, it'll come out. There we go, okay. So that's in, this is out. Get this, lift it up. Drop that down. In right. Something caught in that cable. It's caught in. It's just tangled up, okay. Now, bring that thing back at this point. It just gets pinched in between everything else. Then we can put the screws in. Okay. Looking good already. Needs a bit of a wipe in there. I could have washed that. So it has some cracked plastic down here, but it's going to be okay. Let's check if this works. Works just fine. Okay, better turned on. I think I'll do that outside and then bring it back in, so just in case it blows out a bit of dust. So I know it's going to work now. So that's cool, and it's working, and the high-low is working. Let's get it all back together. This is the kind of stuff I'll wash in a washing machine. A carrier bag that got dirty. These are the rags I put in with it, and there's the filter, and that looks really good, you know. It's not spotlessly clean, but as a filter goes, that's going to be used for filtering dust. That's great. And so I'll have to, the straps are gone a bit tatty on it, but they've actually lost all of their elasticity. It doesn't really matter, so that thing will go back inside them, and we'll put that back in the machine when it's dry. So the filter has dried out. I haven't got a bag out for it yet, but I'm not going to try sucking anything with it because the hoses are all inside as well. So I just want to put this on and wrap up and check that it's all okay. I can't see that it won't be. The inside came out lovely with that brush. Churn brush, like I said, they're great because they get into all the corners and they've got good stiff bristles. That's what it came up like from the washing machine. It actually looks dirtier on the camera, looking at that, than it does in real life. It killed the elastic, but I don't think that makes any difference really. Let's turn them around so his name is on top. So, one more go. Just to see. And that new switch lights up, which I don't know if I like it or not. So Henry, you are going to my mate Steve. Steve asked me for a Henry quite some time ago, but Henrys are a bit like London buses. They're both red. Now, any questions or comments about this, just stick them below. Like and subscribe if you want more videos about Henrys, or have a look at my Numatic vacuum cleaners playlist, or my vacuum cleaners playlist if you're generally interested in vacuum cleaners and me fussing about them. Thanks for watching. Henry Micro. See you later.